Have you ever had a moment where you just looked around and you wondered, what life is this? That you sort of feel like you have just been going through the motions of life. You may have the right car, the right job, the right friends, the right relationship, but everything seems kind of hollow. Now, I'm going to say something that might be a bit controversial, but you're right. It is. You see, we've been trained and conditioned to perform for others, to perform for their love, their respect, their understanding, their acceptance. But in order to get rid of this distance that we have from our life, we need to stop performing and live for ourselves. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Evolve with Alana. Hi, I'm Alana. So today I wanted to talk about how we put on a mask, how we perform for others. In my personal life, I found that there was a time where on paper everything was like perfect. Absolute. I was making good money. I was doing a lot of things, but inside, I didn't feel like I was myself. I didn't feel like I was truly living who I was. And it took me a while to realize I wasn't living my life. I was living someone else's expectations of my life. You see, when we are little, when we were babies, we started life as brand new entities. And we had this inherent knowing of who we were and what we deserved. We deserved to be loved. We deserved to be held and cared for. But as we got older, as we entered in school, we found that there were these rules, these social interactions. We found that to get a parents' or authorities' love, we had to act a certain way. We had to mold ourselves into the image of another person. Now, this is very instinctual. We as humans, we love being part of a community. And us being separate from the community can feel like almost a type of death. So we don't feel that social death. We find ourselves molding ourselves to the community at large, to however the other sees us. But by molding ourselves in the way that others see us, how they want us to act, we can lose ourselves, get more and more distance from who we truly are, our true loves, our true beliefs, our true inner self. So what do you do when you no longer want to be separate from yourself? When you want to stop performing for others and finally be you? So one of the first things I would suggest is for you to first recognize when you are performing. When are you separating yourself from the outside world? When you are performing to gain somebody's admiration, their love, their respect. Sometimes we're doing it only at certain times in our life. Maybe it's only towards certain people. Do you perform when you're meeting someone of the opposite sex or someone who looks really hot? Do you perform only when you're addressing an authority figure, that you sort of step away from yourself? The first step is always recognizing when you are performing, when you are not acting like your true self. So the next step I want you to do is to shift your mindset. Yes, your mind is an amazing thing. The reason why we perform for others, for their love, for their respect, comes from a deep insecurity for us. It comes from a need for validation. It comes for a need of validation and a need to not be rejected. And that happens in the mind. So we have to shift our mindset around this performance. First mindset shift that I want you to do is to remind yourself that you are as important as those around you. You are as important as the person that you're trying to flirt with. You're just as important as the authority figure at work, at school. Your needs and wants are just as important as anyone else's. In this mindset shift, you have to remember that your values and what you believe in is valid. That no other's values or their beliefs are above your own. That this is your life. That this is your journey through this wonderful world. And what you think matters. The last tip that I have to stop performing for people: you have to take action. Do activities that make you happy, regardless of whether they might be seen as childish to others. Remember, for me, one of my activities that I do is that I read fan fiction. In fact, I have a video right here that tells you what things I learned from reading fan fiction. A hobby that is truly, most other people would find childish or stupid. Indulge in those activities that you truly love and enjoy. And if you start an activity and you find out you don't really enjoy it, it's okay. You can stop that activity and try a new one. But make sure you make time for yourself, for these activities, for the things you love. We have to set boundaries to actually voice what we like and what we don't like. We have to be able to say no to things that don't align with us. This bonus tip that I have for you is that you have to get comfortable in being uncomfortable. You need to embrace discomfort. For so long, you have put on this mask and done everything that people from outside of you wanted you to do. So you now making yourself the priority is going to ruffle a few feathers. You have to recognize that situations are going to be uncomfortable. You're going to have uncomfortable conversations. People may treat you differently. Maybe you won't get as much smiles or pats on the back as you used to. Voicing your opinion, voicing your true self. They may say that you have changed or this new you is bad. But they say that because they only have known the mask part of you, the performing side of you, the you that was so easy to get along with because you did everything that they expected you to do. So now, as you take ownership of your life and your experiences, standing up for your values, standing up for what you believe in, standing up in who you are today, they can find that as a threat. And as they find a threat in it, they will make it uncomfortable. But this is a needed part of your growth, a needed part to center yourself in being who you are. Because now, instead of wearing the mask, instead of performing, you are truly being who you are. And now that you're who you are, you can find those friends, those people who truly love you as you. I hope you like this video. If you do, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.